You've seen my cherries, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you think they're too moist?
Oh my God, is that really the level we're going for?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
All right, well, if we're going for that level, if you're caught taking a dump down a manhole, what do you say?
I don't know.
I was just out walking my rat and I seem to have lost my way.
Hello and welcome to episode 7.
Seven.
Of Review to a Kill. My name's James and I'm a big James Bond fan.
Yeah, my name's Tom and I'm watching these James Bond movies for the first time.
And every episode we are going to be watching a different James Bond movie and comparing our scores. Me as someone who's seen them a million times before and Tom seeing them for the very first time.
Yeah.
Now, don't forget, as we always say at the beginning of every episode,
Oh yeah.
there will be
Spoilers!
So if you haven't seen the movie that we're talking about tonight, please pause now, go and watch the movie and then come back because we will spoil everything for you.
Plenty of spoilers.
Plenty of spoilers. Very
Yeah.
spoiler heavy episode this evening. Now, we would also love to hear your feedback. So just leave us a little comment underneath here
That's
where
right,
I'm
it's-
pointing now.
It works when you do that.
It does.
It's good
It's magic.
Yeah.
On that there YouTube, or you can tweet us or X message thing.
What do they call it? Shitter? No. Twitter. Xitter.
Anyway, you can contact us on that. If you go to @ReviewKillShow, you will find us on that there Twitter /X. And straight away, we would like to start with some of your comments that we've received since the last episode. So let us do Feedback Corner.
She's
Nice jingle. Lovely. Very good.
Yeah.
You can tell he's a professional
working on that
musician.
one since the last episode.
Very good. Miss March 88 has contacted us again.
Hello.
She has said that during the last episode, the cuts to the Wile E. Coyote fall every time you talk about how long the movie is, with many smiling, laughing faces afterwards. She says, love the episode, not disappointed with the Bond board changes at all. I should think not.
Yeah.
And thanks for the shout out, fellas. So thank you very much, Miss March 88. My friend Fioretta in Canada via Twitter says, another great episode, guys. 4840 and 5314 still have me cracking up, and that is your genius falling off the cliff bit. So
It's gone down well, me.
Your adoring public.
I'm getting better, aren't I?
Yeah, no, it's
I've
brilliant
learned
stuff.
how to deal with this stuff.
Brilliant stuff. Triforce of Kaz says, just discovered this channel and haven't had a good time binging the current episodes. We've been binged.
I think that's our first binger.
Well, you are our first binger.
Don't
thank
be
you.
ashamed. You should be proud.
Yeah, no, thank you. I didn't
You're
realise
the
you were
first,
binge-worthy.
first of many, I reckon.
Yeah, no, fabulous.
If there's any justice.
I feel better now that we've been binged. I feel like I've achieved something in my life. I've been binged.
I took the day off work when we got that comment.
And why not?
I said, sorry, boss.
Yeah.
Have you been binged?
No, I don't think
have.
you have. So I'm taking today off.
Yeah.
Says he looks forward to future episodes, or she, could be huge. Look forward to future episodes. You've probably been asked this already, and I apologise if you've covered it and I somehow missed it, but are you open to doing the unofficial movies as a bonus at the end, or are you just sticking to the 25 official movies? Well, you're about to see, Triforce of Kaz, an on-air production meeting because we haven't discussed this
Because I
before.
replied, but without discussing it with you.
Oh, okay, fine. So
Did
what's
you
your
see
view?
what I said? I just said that we're doing the Bond board is just for the 25.
We obviously can't touch a masterpiece.
But
of
let's
this
not
genius.
rule out. We're definitely going to
I'm
be
with
talking
that.
about Never Say Never Again.
Yes.
In the era it was made.
Yes.
We forgot to talk about Casino Royale.
Well, no,
completely.
I think that's okay. I think we do the 25 official ones.
Yeah.
Have our ultimate Bond board of justice.
Then we do 25 episodes on Flash Gordon.
No. Then we do... No, really. No, honestly, no. Then we do we could do the unofficial ones. Never Say Never Again, Casino Royale. There was an earlier version.
Bondboarded or what?
If you want, I don't mind.
Oh, right.
But there was an earlier version of Casino Royale in the 50s, which very few people know about.
Oh, earlier than the...
Even the unofficial one. And there's spoofs, and there's the film Neil Connery was in. And
that's my friend Phil told me about that. All right, Phil?
Hi, Phil.
He helped me win James's quiz on Saturday, but yeah.
Not there was any collusion or corruption.
Hi, Phil and Lisa.
Get the idea.
Thanks for helping us win James's quiz.
But basically, Triforce of Kaz, yes, we are going to do some other films and some unofficial films. You're not getting rid of us after 25 movies, but we will do the official ones first. Hope that's okay. Thank you very, very much for contacting us. And says, keep up the good content. Hopefully more people discover this cool new show.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice. No, sponsors, if they could discover us, that would be very nice. But I'm pleased that we're called Cool. I'm 49 years old tomorrow.
And you've got 2 kids. So
I was going to say.
What are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
tomorrow. I didn't realise.
And I'm, no, you're right. But I don't feel cool, you know? I feel old.
Well,
So,
I'll get you a present for next time.
Thank you. But I wasn't saying it for that reason. I was just saying I'm not really cool. So it's nice to be called a cool new show. So I'm very happy with that. Thank you very much, Triforce of Kaz. Matthias Schultz 3569. Picking up on what we talked about in the On Her Majesty's Secret Service episode, the quote, "Same old James, only more so," would have been a wonderful line for Moneypenny in Roger's first Bond movie. That's a great idea. I like that a lot.
Right, well.
Thank you very much, Matthias, for that.
I don't know, but yeah.
Well, you'll see it in the next episode, won't you?
We will.
You'll see what he means.
I'm sure you're right.
Queenie Colombo, who is our official nice person, says, official nice person, says, "Ooh, your scores are becoming more and more interesting. I love this film." On Her Majesty's Secret Service, we were talking about. From the get-go, unlike many other Bond fans who grew to love it. If only Lazenby had agreed to do more. Tracy's fantastic and important character, most definitely in my top 10. More importantly, she also says, your disco lights are awesome. Sure, we know this.
Coming soon, coming up.
Very soon.
Coming up later on the show.
And as for my shout out, thank you. Yours sincerely, OMP. Thank you very much. Queenie Colombo, our official nice person, OMP. Is that an OMP? Yeah, you know me.
That's how cool you are.
That's how cool I am. Quoting rap from 35 years ago, whatever it was.
Naughty by nature.
Exactly. Yeah, you knew. That makes you less cool.
I was going to have to... Something like
that, yeah. Just loop that. We've got a song.
Anyway, feedback corner.
Oh, actually, there's one more thing.
Sorry.
Queenie Colombo also says, was that a bit of Pac-Man melody in Tom's remix jingle for the 3Gs?
So you should look. I respond to that sort of thing.
Well, let's.
It's a secret.
I want
the answer
watching
is
millions can now hear.
It's a secret.
Oh,
it's my magic box of sounds, and that's all I'm prepared to say.
It's like the magic circle. We can't disclosed our secrets.
Yeah.
We're not.
Also, I don't want the makers of Pac-Man suing me, so let's not bring that up.
So definitely was not Pac-Man.
I don't think it was, but
Definitely was not Pac-Man. I just very quickly want to say, my friend Tracy, who I work with, who is the daughter of our, I'm not going to use the word old, more mature viewer, Mrs. Elizabeth Wallace, Betty, if I may be so bold. Good evening, Mrs. Wallace, who has contacted us before. She said she's got a message for you.
Oh, right.
For you personally, Tom. Tracy says, "Hi, Tom. My mum loves you." Good evening, Mrs. Wallace. She says that you look like Rick Wakeman but sound like Willie Rushton. Please take both as a compliment.
I will.
That's fantastic.
Thanks very much.
Life goals. I love it. You're both keeping an 80-year-old woman very entertained. Oh, that's nice.
That's
isn't
good.
It?
I'm very glad about that.
That's lovely.
I take those comments as compliments.
Exactly. So you should. So thank you very much, everybody, for your feedback.
Yeah.
And that was this episode's Feedback Corner. Nice. You're the musician. I could have done better than that.
Yeah,
seriously.
I didn't come prepared with that.
No, I like it. You're improvising.
I didn't think we were doing that this time.
Anyway, let's move on to this episode's movie, because we like to look forward, as in all things, as you know. And this episode's movie is... Diamonds Are Forever. Which... You all right there? You just
singing.
if you could just choke to death less quietly, your mic is live.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Which, according to Tom's French chart, le chart du Bond, le poster de la 007.
Luxury.
Diamonds Are Forever is Les Diamants sont éternels. Sont éternels.
Nice.
Very good. Right, would you like some basic information about this movie? I shall tear through this as quickly as I can.
Okay.
And I'll give you the background to what happened and how we got here. And then we will take a short break and we will move towards the ultimate arbiter of all things Bond, the Bond board. Right, strap in. Here we go. You will recall after the last episode on Her Majesty's Secret Service, George Lazenby, of course, was Bond. For that, Connery had given up the role after You Only Live Twice. Diamonds Are Forever comes along. It's the 7th movie. It's the 4th novel. Remember, the novel is in a different order to the books. And this was Connery's final appearance as Bond. And the producers managed to get Connery back to do one more appearance as Bond, even though he said he would never do so. So, how did he do that? Well, the short answer is, to be frank about it, money. Lots and lots and lots of money. George Lazenby refused a 7-picture deal, thinking that Bond was Connery's gig and that times were changing after Easy Rider and those sorts of films. So the producers looked at several actors to replace Lazenby as Bond, including Adam West.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. Burt Reynolds, Robert Wagner, Clint Eastwood apparently was mentioned at this point, which would have been a bit of a random one. And they also interviewed Ranulph Fiennes, the explorer, as a possibility for Bond. However, in the end, they chose an American actor called John Gavin. Now, he looked the part. He was 40 years old, very tall, very handsome, had a very good acting CV. He was Julius Caesar in Stanley Kubrick's Spartacus. And most famously, he was Sam in Psycho, Marion's boyfriend in Psycho. However, there was a problem. The studio didn't like him and insisted they go and find Connery. So they went to Connery and they came up with a deal of, bear in mind this is 1971, $1.25 million plus 12.5% of the total gross for this movie, for Connery to do this one movie. They also offered 2 back-to-back films of his choice. And what Connery did was use that fee to put it into his trust, which was called the Scottish International Education Trust, for Scottish artists to apply for funding without having to leave their country to pursue their careers. And he made movies under that auspice. So he took a lot of money, but to be fair to him, he gave it all away. And we must be fair to the producers here. Cubby Broccoli insisted that John Gavin's contract should be paid in full. So he didn't make the Bond movie, but he did get paid for it. So that's how... Anyway, that's how all of that came about. So we have Connery back in the saddle as Bond, which means, of course, for the last time, it is the return of Wig Watch. Wig Watch. That's nice. That's new. I like that.
I learned how to do robot voices.
Yeah, that's like techno Wig Watch.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Right, let's hear that again.
That went down better than...
Yeah, no, that's by far.
If you didn't like that, I would have been
by far your best
offended.
effort. I love
that. Let's have another spin on that one.
Wig Watch. It's frightening what he can do, isn't it? It's astonishing. Tom Scriven music on SoundCloud. He's good, this man. Anyway, the wig. Connery's wig, well, basically by this point, Connery's 41 years old. He's pretty well bald now. So it's not so much a wig, it's more sort of a complete hair replacement system. In fact, there is a photo, I don't know if you can find this for the edit. There is a photo of Connery in Amsterdam filming this movie before they put the wig on him.
Oh, that's
and he's
a challenge
really bald.
for me to find that. But...
And then there's a similar photo in pretty much exactly the same place after they put the wig on, and you will see what the difference is. It is basically all wig at this stage. But actually, this raises something. It's only 9 years since Dr. No.
Yeah.
But Connery has changed a lot in those 9 years.
Yeah.
He has got... I mean... Still a good-looking guy, but he does look a lot older, I think. Greyer. Maybe a little more what's the word we would use? Robust.
Yeah.
Perhaps around the middle.
Yeah. He looks like he's lived quite well the last few years.
Yeah.
And M looks a bit dodged, doesn't he, this one as well? Are we getting to that?
We will get to that.
Okay,
Yeah, we will get to that. Anyway, that's Wig Watch. Who else is in the cast? So, Charles Gray is back as Blofeld. He, of course, had played Henderson in You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
Former child star Jill St. John was cast as Tiffany Case. Lana Wood, Natalie Wood's younger sister, as Plenty O'Toole. Bruce Glover, that's Crispin Glover, George McFly's dad. I know, brilliant, isn't it?
Because, I had to look up
of course.
Winton Kid, and I was like, of course it is, because he's dead
It does
ringer,
actually
isn't
look-
he?
Yeah. He does
And
look
it's
pretty
sort of
similar.
having known a bit about Crispin Glover, watched a few YouTube videos of him trying to kick David Letterman, and his song, the clowny clown clown or something that he tried. It's like, oh, if that's your dad, I kind of understand why you weren't, making the best decisions with your life.
I mean, I think
perhaps
the guy who played Biff in Back to the Future does this song about.
I've seen.
Have you seen it?
Yes,
about being in the Back to the Future movies, and he says, "What's Crispin Glover like? He's unusual."
Yes.
Anyway, so that's his dad, Bruce Glover, and Putter Smith.
Yeah.
They're the two guys who play Winton Kid. Putter Smith was a jazz musician. He was a bassist who was spotted by the director, Guy Hamilton. He'd never acted before he got this role.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a guess at how old Putter Smith is in this movie?
I love these bits. He's 28.
But do you know what? You're not far. I know he looks like 55.
Yes.
He's 30.
Wow.
And he's... I don't know. It must have been something about the 70s. Just made everybody look old before their time. Anyway, Bruce Cabot was in this as well. This is his last role before his death. He was Bert Saxby. Bruce Cabot was the star, or one of the stars, of the original King Kong.
40?
No. Yeah, he was 22. No, he was one of the stars of the original King Kong almost 40 years before. The part that Jack Black had in the remake was what Bruce Cabot had done in the original. So he had a very long career. Similar story with Mark Lawrence. Now, he's the guy who's the sort of henchman. I didn't know there was a pool down there.
Yeah,
right? That's Mark Lawrence. He had a career going back to the early 30s, but had been blacklisted in the communist witch hunts and had to go abroad to spend a large part of his career, and was sort of rebuilding his career at this point. So, interesting stories with some of these guys. Return, of course, of Bond regulars. Bernard Lee as M, Desmond Llewellyn as Q, and Lois Maxwell as Moneypenny. And for the first time, Lois Maxwell is allowed out of the office.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very nice.
Is that the only bit she's in as well, isn't it?
I think that is she's a very small part in this movie. But at least she gets to go
outside.
all the way to Dover, which must have been a real thrill for her.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
Also
in this...
I'm off to Vegas.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah. Also in this movie, we have a few American actors who were based in Britain. So we have Shane Rimmer as Tom. He's a US actor living in the UK. He was in You Only Live Twice. He also has a larger part in a later Bond film.
The guy in the research lab.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's got like one scene at a desk in
You Only Live Twice. But he has a much larger part in a later film with Roger Moore. So that'll be a nice surprise for you, won't it? He did a lot with Jerry Anderson. Did a lot of voiceover work with Jerry Anderson. He also has a small part in Star Wars and Superman 2. Not Flash Gordon, sadly. He also had a part in Coronation Street later in his life. So he had a pretty varied and interesting life. So did Ed Bishop, who plays one of my favourite cameos in the whole of Bond, Klaus Hergesheimer. I love Klaus Hergesheimer. I think he's brilliant. He was another US actor based in the UK. He did lots of kids' TV and all kinds of stuff here in the UK. He'd been in The Saint with Roger Moore before this and various other things as well. Another one, David Bauer, the guy who played Morton Slumber. And he had also previously appeared in a Bond film as well. He was the US diplomat in You Only Live Twice. When they were all arguing with the Russians at the start. So anyway,
I recall.
That's those guys were based in the UK and very heavily involved in a lot of these movies. Willard White who was based on Howard Hughes, a very sort of reclusive, multi-millionaire guy based in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He was played by Jimmy Dean. Now, Jimmy Dean was a country and western singer, very famous in America, not very famous here in Britain. He had a hit with Big Bad John. You know that song? Big Bad John. In 1961.
Oh, yeah.
That was him, right? So 10 years previously, he'd had a hit with this. But he was also very famous in America, and I promise I'm not making this up. I've double-checked it. He founded the Jimmy Dean Sausage Company and was famous not just as a country and western singer, but as a man who sold sausages on TV.
Nothing wrong with that.
But, well, do you know what? We can laugh. He sold that company in 1984 for $80 million. So,
Good.
hey, who's the idiot? You know.
Yeah.
But he's great in this. I think he's just really hamming it up, just chewing the scenery basically in this. So he's a lot of fun in this. The director for this one was Guy Hamilton. He had previously directed Goldfinger, which had been seen as, I think, by the producers as the best movie to this point.
Yeah.
It's the second of the 4 Bond films that he would direct. In fact, he did 3 in a row because he came back to do the next 2, Guy Hamilton. The script for Diamonds Are Forever was written by Bond legend Richard Maybaum again. The initial script idea was that the main villain of this movie should be Goldfinger's younger brother. This was rejected. Probably not a bad idea to reject that. I don't like that. I don't see that working out well.
No.
So what they did was they brought in a younger American writer to work on some dialogue and also to add lots of humour. This was Tom Mankiewicz, who went on to work on several other Bond films subsequently. Connery apparently was a big fan of Mankiewicz's writing.
Is he any
and really liked
relation
what
to
he'd done.
Wolf Mankiewicz, or is that the same guy? Or
No, I
it's
think
just
it's
their
spelt
teeth?
differently.
Oh, okay.
We will double check, and there will be an edit appearing on the screen if I'm wrong, but I believe it's different.
Yeah.
Right, this is based on the novel. The novel was published in 1956. It was the 4th of the Bond novels. It's a pretty different story to the movie. We're in a phase now where they're moving away from the novels more and more. They're really only taking elements from the novels, names and that sort of thing, but the plots are very different. In the novel, Bond is chasing a group of gangsters who are smuggling diamonds. Las Vegas is involved. Some of the character names are the same, but that's about it in terms of similarities between the novel and the movie. This was a slightly different novel in many ways because it's set in multiple locations around the world, and there's also no single megalomaniac at the centre of the plot. Right. There's sort of several different baddies that Bond is taking on. It's probably the weakest of the 4 novels, I would say, to this point. Okay. There's lots of long passages about diamonds and different types of diamonds and the smuggling trade, which I think are a bit sort of padding really in the novels. So that's why I think they chose to sort of rewrite the script, although we'll talk about the script a bit later on for the movie. Production. This is interesting because it was the first Bond movie that was produced primarily in the United States rather than the United Kingdom, because so much of it is based in and around Las Vegas. They filmed a cameo in a Vegas casino with Sammy Davis Jr., but that was actually dropped from the final movie. There was a problem in production, and it's sort of quite a big one. The 2 leading ladies, Jill St. John and Lana Wood, hated each other. Now, this is because Connery had recently separated from his wife and was, during the making of this movie, dating both women at the same time. So, lo and behold, they didn't really like each other too much. Now, the feud actually continued and, if anything, got worse in later years because Jill St. John is married to Robert Wagner, who, of course, was with Natalie Wood, Lana's older sister, when she drowned. So there has been examples of the 2 women not wanting to be photographed together and not wanting to be in. There's also a continuity mistake during the Vegas car chase. When Bond drives the Mustang on 2 wheels through the narrow alley, did you spot this?
Well, that couldn't actually happen.
Well, no. It's a Bond film. Just go with it. The problem is, well, apart from the fact that it couldn't actually happen, but the problem is the car goes up onto one side, and when it came out, they shot the coming out of the alleyway separately. It's on the other side because the French teams did the other side, and of course their steering wheels are on the other side, so the weight was all on that side of the car. So what they had to do was cut in that shot where the car not only goes in that way, but then mysteriously goes to somehow goes through a little thing to make it go up the other way. Anyway, they got away with it. There was another problem in shooting because Lana Wood, in the scene where she's thrown in the pool and has her feet tied to the concrete block, I did say there would be spoilers, so you were warned. She almost drowned filming that.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know.
When I was watching it, I was thinking,
would you
I
really?
hope she's just pretending she's tied to that and she can just... Because that's all they needed to do.
No, she was genuinely tied to the concrete block.
Why?
And here's the thing, right?
Crazy filmmakers.
It won't have escaped your attention. Swimming pool floors are not flat. They do this. Yeah. So, of course, she starts here, but she's gradually going farther and farther down until someone realised, oh, actually, she is drowning for real. Jumped in and got her out. Anyway, it was despite these relatively challenging things, it was all done on time, the production. Connery's contract stated that he would only work for 18 weeks. And they finished on the very last day of his 18th week at 4 o'clock. Yeah. So that was when it was all done. And the last scene that Connery filmed was when he is closed into the coffin lid.
Yeah.
That was literally the last, very...
yes. Symbolic.
Symbolic is the word. That's why you're the writer. Let you come up with the right words. Very symbolic. There are some famous scenes in this movie. We have our first rotating chair and... Good evening, Mr. Bond, in this movie, which is very nice. There are some controversies, of course, which we always like to just touch on, and we can't pretend that these things aren't in these movies. Some controversies, I would say, maybe you have others. The scene with Marie at the start. Marie, by the way, was Denise Perrier, who had been Miss World in 1953. Connery actually strangles her with the bikini, which is a sort of an unusually... sexually violent thing to do. I mean, I thought it was all a little bit odd. Also, I know it's not controversial, but just while we're talking about that scene, you can actually see Connery's tattoos. They forgot to cover them up for that scene, so you can actually see his navy tattoos on his arm. We have Bond slapping women again, this time Tiffany, which of course is not something that we like to see. The other thing is that sometimes presented as problematic with this movie is Winton Kidd, which we'll talk about a bit later on. Would they be, they are almost sort of stereotypically gay. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Would they be presented that way today? I'm not sure.
I think
probably not.
We'll get to them in Henchmen and my thoughts on that, I think.
Well, here's the interesting thing. David at license2queer.com, hi David, who I'm a big fan of, he's written some excellent stuff on Winton Kidd and Diamonds Are Forever more widely, and his view is that no, they wouldn't be portrayed like that today, but that representation was the most important thing for him when he was younger. So for him as a boy growing up and sort of struggling with his sexuality, to see some overtly gay people on the screen was actually sort of reassuring in some ways, even though obviously they're probably problematic by today's standards. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we leave it to people with first-hand experience, but obviously Winton Kidd.
I think. Well, I'll just say I'll talk about when I did enjoy them a lot, but it was as if their gayness. It was almost implied that it's meant to feel like it makes things that little bit worse. They're doing it while being gay.
They're not just murderers, they're gay murderers. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Right, reception. This movie, we talked last time about how On Her Majesty's Secret Service had sort of become not very popular at the time, but maybe has grown in popularity in the years since and become more revered in the years since. This movie seems to have sort of travelled in the other direction.
Possibly that could be the case.
Well, initially, this movie got excellent reviews. It was seen as a return to form after Lazenby, which hadn't been well received. Critics loved the lighter tone and the more comedy and so on. Retrospectively, this movie is a lot less positive. It tends to come towards the lower end of many fans' rankings and that kind of thing. Today, Rotten Tomatoes has a 64% ranking, which I think is the lowest we've seen so far. However, box office, fantastic. Budget for this movie was $7.2 million. Box office takings, don't forget Connery got 12%. $116 million. Yeah, not bad. $30 million more than on Her Majesty's Secret Service. So very much a return to form in the box office.
Very good.
And that is my quick capsule review of Diamonds Are Forever. Tom, will you please activate the Bond board?
Oh, Bond board, light up the room, stop us looking like a pair of shitty spoons. Amen.
Oh, there it goes. Wow, no expense has been spared. Fabulous.
And we've still got the voice activation, which but let's not get But I turned it down a bit because I was worried that I just.
Yes. No.
What? Okay.
I could just do this for hours, you know.
Yeah,
just
we
to see
best
what
not
colours...
though.
No, I know. Well, I don't know. It could be a fascinating new part of the podcast, a YouTube show every month.
Oh, you did it.
So I know I did it again. Sorry. Right. These are the categories on the Bond board, and the first of them are
Opening sequence.
opening sequence. What have you got for the opening sequence? For the pre-title sequence? What are we saying?
Is she?
Where is she?
I like that. I kind of liked. Yeah, so it starts. He's back in Japan right at the beginning, and they do a bit. Get some more of them paper walls.
We
up.
do have a throw someone through a paper wall moment again, don't we? It's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I kind of thought it was going to be a Tracy revenge movie, avengement movie, but that was cool for it to open like that. A bit Kill Bill or something.
It's not a Tracy revenge movie because that hadn't gone down well with the audiences.
Yeah.
So
okay.
like now, I think people would love to see that movie.
Yeah.
But then that wasn't what people wanted. I don't think.
See.
And it is a bit meh.
Yeah.
It's the pre-title sequence because we've got Blofeld dying in a pretty meh kind of way.
Before we get to that, though, we got Hit Me.
Oh yeah.
Whack. And then there's like a fez on the roulette wheel.
Pretty obvious
nice
gag.
Yeah. And the bit we said you've already mentioned with Marie, which we're not too keen on.
No.
And then we're at Blofelds. Yeah.
Do you know all that stuff that they drowned Blofeld in that was supposed to be the mud? You know?
Yeah.
Do you know what it was in real life? Mashed potatoes. And the problem was that mashed potatoes, if you leave them out for more than 24 hours, smell like rotten eggs.
Oh, God.
And so there was this whole vat of this stuff just stinking. Poor stuntman, I had to go in there and do it. Must have been absolutely awful. It's not a great pre-title sequence. And actually, it leads us to a conversation about this movie because if you see this movie as a sequel to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, if you liked On Her Majesty's Secret Service, you're probably not going to like this movie because the tone is so different. It's really not a sequel. They sort of wrap it up very quickly in the pre-title sequence and then we have a whole separate other movie. If you see it as its own standalone thing, then I think you can enjoy Diamonds Are Forever. But if you want a second On Her Majesty's Secret Service, you're going to be disappointed. That's not what this is at all. But opening sequence is a bit meh for me. It's not one of the better ones. So I'm going for 6 out of 10.
6. Yeah, I just need to stay.
You don't need. You don't need to exercise. That's fine. Don't worry.
I'm going to go a bit higher. I went 7.
Okay.
I wondered if that was a little cameo from Tom Jones as the plastic surgeon, which I don't think it was, but he looked a little
Not
bit
as far
like
as
it.
I know.
Yeah.
I will check the Bible of Bond.
But Blofeld just gives up the fight really. Like Bond slowly puts shoves that thing down on him. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, this is where I stop fighting." Yeah. And then
I'll just go
I let you kill me now.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Not brilliant. Okay, however, this is something I think is better, and that's the theme song, which is the second element. I love this theme song. I think it's a classic. What's happened to your...
I've gone in the wrong bit. That's
well, if you go into the wrong bit, that's always problems, isn't it? Are we going to hear Wig Watch again? Okay.
Yes, sorry.
That's
Just
right.
getting
I
prepared.
wondered what you were going to play for a minute.
Yeah, so
Get you.
So it's sort of They do this a lot where the Bond theme is in E and it has that rising and back down, so from the fifth and up a semitone, up another semitone, and that one does a very similar thing with you got the fifth one. It doesn't go to that one, but yeah.
I don't understand anything you've just said, but it sounds great. Music people, I hope you understand. Write in and tell
It's sort of in C minor and...
Oh, C minor. Oh, right.
Let's say spoofs.
Right.
Some of the melodic arrangement or, patterns from...
Let's say that.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, it sounds great. You should have kept going and you could have bluffed your way through that for all I knew. So anyway, the theme song, I think, is a classic. Definitely top 5 for me, maybe. Ooh. I think great choice to go back to Shirley Bassey. Yes. Good way of the producer saying we're back.
Yeah.
Like Connery's back. We are back as Bond after the, as they saw it, misstep on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Harry Saltzman didn't like Don Black's lyrics. He thought they were too suggestive, too many double entendres. But, he's been wrong before. He was wrong on that one. So I think it's a great theme song.
Yeah. Bassey's fantastic again, and the back half of it as well. The drums go into this like 16-beat thing. It's got it's like the best groove of all the ones so far. Yeah. So that bass line when it does that little pulse and it's a boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But it's the drums, the rhythm section on this is great.
I like a good boom on the bass.
Boom, boom, boom. And nice rhythm section matched with these lovely romantic strings and the great vocals. So
Well, we're going to talk about the score in just a minute, but let's provide a score for the theme song.
I'm still talking about the song.
I know. I'm just saying because the reason I mentioned it was because you actually see that in the score. Okay. That sort of flamboyant Vegas-y sound. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But theme song, I've gone Big 9.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this song.
I keep trying to get up and then I realise...
There's no particular need for you to get up.
What did you do? I'm just writing James.
You've just written James, but that's fine. 9...
I've really gone 7 for it. I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, despite the on the bass?
Oh, God. All right, you have convinced me to go up. So just to 8.
Okay. A 9 and an 8.
Oh, God.
That box is a bit of a mess, if we're being honest. We'll tidy it up. We'll tidy it up. Right, score and music for this movie. John Barry's 6th Bond score. Back to something more traditional after On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is quite electronic. Very Vegas-like, as I said.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What have you got?
I don't know. I haven't really got anything other than... Musician. I just noticed it was a lot of variations on that song and just instrumental versions of it. And I
have we got that thing again where he's only using a few notes to make a sort of motif?
No, I mean, in that bit that I've played already, really.
Didn't seem to be many there.
Yeah. So if you take out the 5th, which you don't know what I'm talking about, you have just got... And then...
Something like that. Better than I could have done. No, I like it. I think it's a really good score. Very, very Vegas and sort of over the top, and there's bits in it where the music just sounds perfect for Vegas. Okay. I think. And there is a song in this, by the way, a piece of music in this called 007 and Counting. Right. It's when the laser's going around the world blowing things up. Like the Chinese guy who really makes the most of his cameo. But that's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. And it's the basis of a song by Jakarta called The Other World, which if you haven't found it, go and check it out. It's fabulous. So anyway, big fan of this score. Like it very much.
I see that. What are you saying for it?
I've gone 8 for the score.
See, I've only gone 5.
Really?
And only because I thought... There's nothing here other than I really like the song.
Yep.
8. And the score resembles that, and it has like spins on it, but there wasn't like a big standout bit or or something that. But I've said this in my composer voice before.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's probably a good thing for the score not to stand.
The score's
that
in
much.
the background.
If it was just jarring and too abrasive,
sure.
then I'd be giving it a 3.
I mean, the score shouldn't be the star, It should be kind of in the background.
Exactly. But so there's nothing that I've gone, oh God, that sounded horrible. Yeah. But there's also nothing that I've gone, that's
particularly memorable.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that is your lowest score for a score.
Yeah.
So far. 9 last time for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So only a 5 for Diamonds Are Forever. Next, we are going to talk about stunts. What are we saying about stunts? I've got a list here. So, props, I think, to the good fight in the lift. I think the fight in the lift in Amsterdam is really good. Probably the best fight since From Russia With Love on the train.
Ooh, really?
Would you say?
I don't know. It was all right. I wasn't blown away by it. I've got to be honest.
But then like the Habitat furniture fight in You Only Live Twice, didn't you? You like the furniture showroom fight.
Yeah, that's
my.
My.
If there's a funky sofa involved, that's really what he needs from his fight.
That's what fights.
I think the fight.
I liked the close proximity thing.
Yes.
And I liked that it ended. It was a bit Richie and Eddie with the fire extinguisher. So that that helps.
He didn't get a pair of pliers on his nostrils.
that would have been good.
No, I like it, and I think that proximity, the fact they are two huge guys in this tiny little space, it does work really, really well. Can I give a shout out here to, I think, a simple but very effective stunt, and that's the guy, it's supposed to be Bond, standing on top of the outside of the elevator in Vegas as it goes up the outside of the White House, and he's actually kind of leaning nonchalantly on the railing, which I think is a really simple but really effective stunt because there's no way I would do that.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
Motor trikes.
Yes, motor trikes.
Oh, okay. So should we say what's first?
No, let's do motor trikes. That's fine.
He's slowly getting away. Yeah, you remember that bit from The Simpsons?
I know. And also, can I just say, shout out to the guy who falls off his quad bike, jumps back on, and then sits there for about 30 seconds waiting for Connery to come and kick him off. I'm like, really, mate? You could have gone plenty of time. But anyway.
Connery clearly did his own stunts at very high speeds there before he jumps off.
Yeah.
That must have been, they must have been careful. They must have had paramedics on standby on that bit.
Absolutely.
Christ, he didn't mess about.
Can I just say the car chases in this movie were done by a guy called Paul Baxley.
Right.
He was the guy who doubled for Steve McQueen in The Great Escape and did the famous motorbike jump in The Great Escape. You can sort of see a bit of that, can't you?
Well, in Las Vegas with the police and everything.
Yeah, with the
that
Mustang.
Bit's cool.
Yeah, I quite like that.
The trike bit, actually, I enjoyed. I just found it was a bit slow.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. So, have I missed any stunts? Have you got any that I've missed?
You've already mentioned that, the missile's blowing up. So there's that bloke on fire. He's brilliant.
Yeah. And actually, there's two guys on fire because it happens to Putter Smith at the end as well.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
With the kebabs.
Yeah.
And
hello, Amal. How's the kebab business?
And there's a massive onslaught with machine guns and helicopters. That must have taken some choreographing and that.
Apparently, the explosions you see on the oil rig at the end were detonated by accident. They were.
Of course they were.
Of course they were. We know this from previous episodes. But they were detonated by accident. They were detonated on a rehearsal instead of an actual take. But luckily, one of the helicopters was filming, so they blew all this stuff up and only had one shot of it going. So they sort of had to cut in all these other bits to make it work. But yeah, that's very sort of... these things happen, don't they? So I think that's all for stunts.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Unless we count Connery kissing himself in Amsterdam. I suppose that's technically a stunt.
Very sexual. I put that in gags. In a kind of tenuous. Is this a gag?
We'll talk about that later. I'm sure it'll be a highlight of the second half of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right, stunts 7 for me.
7. And I'm only going 5.
Oh, really? Even though you like the car chase?
No, I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to talk.
I'm not going to talk.
Yeah.
I'm not here to try and talk you while I am.
Yeah.
Vehicles.
Because I've just listed them, really hoping that I'd have something interesting to say.
Okay, well,
we've already talked about the motor trikes.
Yes. You like those little motor trikes, don't you?
Not really. I was amused by them.
They look really small.
Yeah.
I mean, Connery's like on a kid's trike, isn't
I
he?
think I went on one of them when I was about 12 or something, on like a school trip or something. Yeah.
They do look unusually small and not very threatening, and also not very stable, which would lead to the question: why has he got them in the middle of the bloody desert? If that's the case, I mean, not exactly smooth tarmac. No DB5 in this movie because it was all based largely in America. Tiffany's car, the big red American car, is a Ford Mustang Mach-1.
Yeah.
The ultimate American muscle car. Very good in a straight line. Not so good if you want to turn a corner with some power.
Yeah.
Because you notice the back keeps kicking out all the time, and it's obviously a bit of a nightmare to drive. Anything else you want to say on cars? I think the car
there's a
chase is
hovercraft which would just pass us by. You even hovercrafts kind of. Do they still have them?
No. Do you know? I've actually written giant hovercraft thing.
Yeah.
Shame they don't do those anymore. They look great, don't they? I'd love to have gone on one. Just up that ramp in Dover looked really good. So I'd love to have done
It was
that.
all right.
Yeah.
And the moon buggy.
The moon buggy. Do you know they added the extra arms and antennae on the moon buggy just to make it look more sort of madder and moon buggy?
Well,
it didn't serve any purpose.
No, I'm glad they did because otherwise it would have looked stupid.
Exactly. It wouldn't. The whole thing wouldn't have worked. Would
Yeah.
it? So what do we think of the moon buggy? I quite like the idea he's randomly jabbing buttons to try and make it go. I think that was quite good.
I liked it in as much. I laughed.
Yeah. But was it laughing with or laughing at?
Probably more at.
Yeah.
But not in it. I'm not watching these these are such bad movies.
Sure, yeah.
There's genuine love for these things, but maybe a little stretch there with the moon buggy.
But then I suppose they were trying to lighten the tone after on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Can I give a shout out to one more vehicle that we haven't talked about yet? And that is Blofelds' Bathos sub.
Oh, yeah.
At the end. I'm not sure how far he would have got. It's about the size of a dining room chair. There's no room for sort of any great luxury, is it? It looks like it'll go about 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So
it's
where's he
one
going?
Of those sensory deprivation tanks.
Exactly. But you're not supposed to go anywhere.
Or the septic tank out of a bus's toilet or something. Yeah, like
a
at the end of
funny
Alan Partridge, the movie.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine him going down into the water
and just
then
going
like really slowly. So when Felix turns up, they just arrest him anyway. I don't know. I suppose it looked cool, but I'm not sure it was very, very practical. I have gone 6 for vehicles.
And
not the greatest movie for vehicles.
No, and we have finally come to an agreement on our scores there.
We've agreed agreeably.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Villain I have next. What do we think of Charles Gray's Blofeld?
Okay. Very, actually fine, but probably the worst out of the 3.
I think he's commonly considered that. Now, I'm going to declare an interest here.
You do that.
Thank you. Don't worry, I'll stay clothed. Diamonds Are Forever was the first Bond film that I really got to know well. It wasn't the first one I ever saw, but it was the first one I really got to know well because it was on every bank holiday when I was growing up. Right, and this is I know I sound like 150 years old now, but there was no Netflix or whatever else at that time. None of that in my day. I didn't have none of that fancy Netflix. So the only time you had really to see a Bond film was when they were on TV, on ITV. So Diamonds Are Forever, for some reason, was the one they showed the most. So this is the one that I was most familiar with. So Charles Gray was my first Blofeld, right? He was my virginal Blofeld experience was with Charles Gray. So I'm probably more,
I get
a fan,
fine,
for that reason.
Yeah.
I like the sort of, first of all, I think he's I know he doesn't look as mad as the other two, but in his own way, he's kind of more over the top. This sort of big flourishing rhetoric that he seems to use all the time.
Yeah.
You know, the whole these impotent beach boys and all that kind of stuff. I really like all that speech that he does.
He looks good. You know, he's
and great voice.
Yeah.
I mean, how much would you want a voice like that?
Good voice, yeah.
That old, humility is the worst form of conceit and all that kind of stuff. I quite like him, I have to say.
And I enjoyed the doubles and the kind of, well, they're not clones, are they? People made to look like lookalikes.
Yeah.
Who get picked off.
I love the way he just does not care when the other ones are killed. It's like, the guy's just had the piton thing literally through the eyes, and he's just sat there with his gun, like, whatever. I'll just get another one. It's not a problem. Yeah. So I have to say I like him, but I appreciate a lot of people feel that Pleasance's and Sabalas's was a better telling of Blofeld. So anyway, what have you gone for?
I'm on 7.
Have you? I feel a little more justified in my score then, because I've gone 8, which is probably high for most people, but like I say, I have a bit of a soft spot for old Charlie Gray.
I did like him, and to say he was the least favourite out of the 3, I liked all 3.
No bad thing.
A lot, so.
Okay, Henchman is next.
Wow.
Well, I mean, first of all, we have to say, we are back to our favourite subject, hoodlums.
Yeah.
I got it, brother.
I got it, brother. Small world. Yeah. Yeah, good old...
Brother. I got a brother.
Yeah.
So I'm loving
They're represented well again, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. And like I say, I didn't know there was a pool down there. It's very dry and very... So, liking the Henchman, personally. And also, the worst undertakers in the world. If they turned up to take your uncle away or something, I mean, you'd be like, really? Who the hell was he involved with?
Yes.
Any more on hoodlums?
Well, Mr. Winter, Mr. Kidd, and then...
Of course.
So, I mean... the first time I watched it, I was like, yes, like I fucking love these guys.
I'm into this.
Because it was like, this one's going to be a good one. Turned out, not so much, but not.
I think they're great characters.
They're great,
and I think they're very well acted. They're clearly both having a lot of fun doing it.
That's it. They're just obviously enjoying themselves, and it's just really. Just like, why are they doing... so the first bit they have is the scorpion.
Yeah.
And then they blow up they make the helicopter blow up, and then they have like a gag. Every line of dialogue they have is a gag. We'll get more to that in gags, I believe.
We do have some classic baddie, over-elaborate killing.
Yeah.
You know, you are...
a lot of...
on about their 5th attempt, you're like, just shoot him.
Just shoot him. Don't leave him in the pipe.
Yeah.
And then go away in a car laughing... Like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Did you see that bit where they're both going... I like that an awful lot.
Perhaps that's where Beavis and Butthead got the idea.
Yeah, maybe
that's where they got it from. Not a henchman as such, but can I just talk about a supporting character very quickly?
Yeah.
I know you like Felix. I'm sorry, this is a crap Felix.
I'm not going to kick off about that, mate.
I don't think it's Norman Burton's fault. I think it's the way they've written this character. Because Felix is supposed to be quick-witted and a match for Bond.
Yes.
Whereas this guy looks like he can organise a piss up in a brewery. And Felix, don't tell me you lost her. Yeah, we lost her, James. I'm sorry. You know.
I mean, I know you know the answer to this, but it's like, I know Felix is going to come back. I know that... they will settle on the casting at one point, and then
for a bit,
because so far it's just he's been played for 4 completely different men.
And they don't even look remotely the same.
It's like they don't know who this character is, what they want him to look like.
And this is the thing. I mean, I don't mind if they change his appearance, but his whole manner is different in this film. And he's not cool.
No, he's never been that cool. I mean, he's basically was cooler as Rick Van
Jack Lord as well. Let's not forget Jack Lord. But the
Goldfinger one...
Yeah, not brilliant.
Everyone's granddad. But yeah, it's especially difficult as they're meant to imply that he's like they're good old buddies, and like you say, he's a kind of a match for Bond.
His equal, And
it's like every time it's like, fucking hell,
he's got this wrong again. I know. He gets outwitted even when Bond's booking a hotel room.
Yeah.
You know, the Mr. and Mrs. Jones thing.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't like this, Felix. Just while we're talking about supporting characters, very quickly, special shout out to the guy at the casino table, the craps table.
Yeah.
Who's dealing the craps. Who you literally cannot understand a word he said. I get the word lucky occasionally, but the rest of it, no idea. Just, lucky.
Coming out. Next to the lady. Ladies are lucky.
And the other guy I really liked was the water balloons guy.
Yeah.
Who's, entertaining the children. And then he sort of looks at Jill St. John and kind of... I quite like him. I think he's a good cameo. Lots of good cameos in this. Anyway, Henchmen. I'm going 7 mostly for Winton Kid. Yeah. And nice to see some hoodlums again.
I like their style so much, I've gone 9.
Woo!
Yeah.
And you're not a man who's easily impressed.
Yeah.
So, Winton Kid impressive.
They did it for me.
Like it. You're well into your Winton Kid. Have you got location next? Yes,
yeah.
I've got location next. Okay, well, mostly Vegas, of course.
Mostly Vegas.
In this movie. I like the shots of Vegas in 1971. The strip is so different to what it is now. Okay. Not as garish, of course, but those big old hotels, the sands and the dunes and all that, it was kind of nice to see.
Yeah, and the scene you mentioned with the chase, and I think there's some other driving scenes with, real shots of the desert and things, and you just America's such a weird country geographically. How there's just all this. 10
minutes outside of Vegas, you're in the middle of nowhere. The interesting thing is, it's a few years now since I've been to Vegas, but when I was there, the strip looks completely different from what it did in 1971. Downtown actually looks fairly similar, I thought. The waving cowboy with the cigarette, that's still there and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right.
Nice to see Amsterdam on screen as well. Could have done with a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
personally.
It's only a bit of that.
Yeah. Could have done with a wee bit more canals and some nice bicycles.
So, I mean, it's not, so there's nowhere really exotic here, but...
You're going to need to like Vegas.
But it looks... Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna need
but
to
it
like
looks nice. It looks very, very good.
Shout out as well here for Ken Adam, because he's back doing the sets after a movie off. And the sets, I thought, looked beautiful. All those interiors of inside Vegas, so Willard White's penthouse and the posh hotel suite and all that kind of stuff. That's all Pinewood.
I'm starting to recognise, that is kind of style now.
It wasn't Vegas. That was all Pinewood and it was all Ken Adams sets. And I think they look fantastic. Do we include set design as part of the location? I suppose we do.
Kind of. I mean, we normally... Well... If you want.
Well, I've gone 7 for location. If we're not including set design, I'm going 6.
Okay, well, let's say we are.
Okay, 7 then.
But I'm only going 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair dues.
All right.
You're scoring lower than I am generally so far, which I think is probably because of my aforementioned soft spot for this movie.
See.
So.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I think we are going to have some fun. The story, the plot.
Have I got to explain what happened in this film?
It's entirely up to you. I've just done a list of mad moments.
No, okay. Well, I'll try and do it.
You be my guest.
Basically, I'll do it start to finish in... Oh, shit. Try and do it in a minute or two, all right? But we'll see how we get on.
Go.
Right, you with me?
I'm with you. Go.
Right, the movie opens with Bond going around knocking the shit out of everyone looking for Blofeld. He finds Blofeld lookalike factory. Yeah, kills a couple of Blofelds. Then there's these assassins who are ace called Winton Kid, who are knocking off folks in a diamond smuggling delivery chain. M gets Bond to infiltrate and uncover the smuggling ring under the guise of Peter Franks. Bond goes to Amsterdam to meet Tiffany Case, kills the real Franks that we talked about. What's that? Puts diamonds with Franks, Franks' corpse, which then gets cremated in Vegas, and the diamonds are taken by an old bastard called Shady Tree. Then Winton Kid knock Bond out and leave him to be burnt alive.
Right.
Luckily, the old bastard finds him just in time and says, "Why are you trying to pull your diamonds and mother shitty faloney?" Right. Bond gets Felix, who is now this little bloke, to get the real diamonds over to him. The old bastard gets it, as in killed, from Winton Kid. Bond meets a woman who gets thrown out of a window before they get a chance to have it away. After some messing about, O'Toole gets murdered, mistaken for Tiffany. No.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
They trace the diamonds to a research lab owned by recluse Willard White, where a big satellite is being built. Bond has to sneak up a wall to find White, but when he gets up there's 2 Blofelds, so he kicks a cat to work out which one's which. But there was another cat as well, so that didn't work. But then Winton Kid came again and leave him in a pipe, which goes underground, but then he gets out and is all smug about it. Bond then finds White's desert home and fights 2 women called Bambi and Thumper, we haven't even spoken about it, and rescues White. They find out that Blofeld plans to use the diamonds to create a laser satellite which blows up loads of nuclear weapons in China, Soviet Union and the USA. They find Blofeld's base and have a massive fight with a helicopter and machine guns. Bond switches the code tape, but Tiffany puts the reel back on. Tiffany puts the reel back in. You twit. Blofeld tries to escape in a mini submarine, but gets battered about by Bond for a laugh. And then the base gets destroyed, and Bond and Tiffany go to a hotel. One last chance for Winton Kid to kill them, but they balls it up and get killed themselves. 4.
Very good, very good. That's probably months worth of script writing massacred in 2 minutes.
When I started this, I'm not even halfway through. God.
Well, here's the interesting thing. All of that sounds completely mad, and yet there are some mad moments that didn't even make it into your excellent synopsis. So let me just pick a few things out. Why are they faking the moon landings?
I don't know.
I mean, presumably as astronauts in training, but that's not explained. We've got Blofeld in drag at one point, which is completely weird. Yeah. Even the sort of climactic scene on the oil rig at the end, where there's usually less humour, is full of slapstick Laurel and Hardy type stuff, firing a machine gun in the air and falling over and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The clones of Blofeld thing you mentioned. Howard Hughes is this weird kind of reclusive figure. The Bambi and Thumper scene is completely mad. What's the point of it? I don't like what. So hold on, they're gymnasts that can beat people up but can't swim.
Yeah,
I don't get that. I don't. And why are they? Are they protecting Willard White? Are they? What are they? What's the point of them? We've also got Bond having sex on a fish tank, which is not something we've seen before. There was an outtake, by the way. There is a deleted scene of that in which Connery's wearing, well, basically bollock naked, except for a pair of flesh-coloured pants.
Oh, right.
Right? If you're feeling strong enough, that is available for you to watch online. We've got a space laser made of diamonds, right? So the whole thing is sort of mad and completely over the top and absolutely mental. Yeah. And all these characters are really exaggerated figures. And yet, the cremation scene, it's like something out of a nightmare. I mean, it literally used to keep me awake at night when I was a kid, because it's really genuinely terrifying. Yes. And the whole thing is kind of just barking mad, isn't it? Everything's turned up to 11.
Yeah,
you know?
It is, I would say. But
it's a mad film. So this is why I think we can't view it as a sort of gritty follow-up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because it's like they did that movie and then took loads of acid and then made Diamonds Are Forever. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I think the pace about it, the first hour I think is fantastic, because it just races through at such a pace. We zoom through London and Amsterdam and onto Vegas, and I think it's great. I do think it dips a little bit after the first hour. I don't like the finale on the oil rig. I don't think that quite works somehow. Blofeld isn't killed. Again, like on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Yeah. Why did he leave him in the tree with the thing on his neck? Why leave him in the Batho sub just messing about with him? That didn't quite work for me. So not mad about the finale. But anyway, yes, the story is barking mad. Yeah. Lots of humour though. We will talk about the humour in a minute. I quite like the humour.
What are you going for?
I don't really know. I don't know whether to score it like a 1 or a 10. Because
I'm going 4 because it's just batshit, but...
But I thought you liked batshit crazy stuff like that.
But I mean...
It's too much even for you. And he's a man who likes Flash Gordon. So, you know, that's batshit. Come on. That is mad. Come on.
It is.
Well, yeah, true.
Flash, if you do the story for Flash Gordon, I won't do it now.
Please don't.
But what I just said sounded like random.
It's
words
almost like
stitched together.
It's almost like 20 people wrote the script. They've all chucked a bit in. Well, that'll do. Put it all together.
Maybe it falls a bit low, but
although I will say, 10-year-old me loved this movie because it was so mad and crazy and silly. So again, it's a soft spot for me, this one, right? And I know other people prefer other movies, and I get that. And there's certain movies that other people rate really highly, which are down near the bottom of mine. So perhaps I'm an outlier amongst the Bond Twitter community. Hi, everybody. I'm going 7. I just think that's marks for just being crazy. I like it.
No worries.
Even though I don't like the ending.
Okay.
Oh. You know what time that is?
Yeah.
There are only 3 categories left.
When they are...
Gadgets, gags, and girls.
Oh, new sound effect.
Which was a little reference.
Was it?
To Q's RPM controller, Mr.
RPM
Jackpot.
controller.
Hey.
That's unbelievable. Okay, gadgets, gags, and girls. So, gadgets. Have you got a list?
Oh, God, yeah.
Right, go. I'll see
Gadgets.
which ones I've got on mine.
Pocket, hand, mouse trap.
Pass it, hand, mouse trap, finger trap thing. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Like that one.
Yeah.
Fingerprint comparison system foiled by Q's fingerprint sticker.
Fingerprint sticker, I think it's quite clever. Yeah,
good.
I like that. Yeah, I'm good with that.
And just a little shout out to Q Branch. When Q's on the phone to Bond, there's some blokes in the background installing a load of rockets onto a car.
Obviously.
It looks like... So, are you sure you got enough rockets there, lads?
That's so they can shoot down the space laser made of diamonds, obviously.
So, well done to them.
Yeah.
The climbing wire...
Oh, yeah.
gun thing.
What would you call it? Piton gun. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So he can go, and I quote, mountaineering about outside the White House.
Yes. Like I said, the electromagnetic RPM controller.
Yes. So he can win the
So he
slots.
can rinse a load of slot machines.
Yeah.
The voice box Texan accent generator.
Simulator thing. And I do love the way Q goes, made one of these for the kids last Christmas. Like it's the most obvious thing in the world.
I love
Daddy,
that.
what would you like for Christmas?
Legend Q. Yeah, but does it... I mean, if you're like Rory Bremner, that was the impression of something, but I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need that, do you?
No.
No.
You put him out of a job.
Yeah, but just if you can't do any impressions...
Just build one of those.
And it's blatantly... Charles Gray is him doing just a text.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely someone dubbed when Connery's having a go with it, with his version, but...
It's Bruce Cabot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also got, I suppose we would call this a gadget.
Cake bomb surprise? No.
Oh, yeah, no,
is
I
it?
suppose that is a gadget. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Une bombe surprise.
Cake
Which
bomb.
is plastic.
Yeah.
I've also got, I suppose we would call this a gadget, it's the ball thing to walk on water.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a parachute, which he then unclips and then walks across the water in the big ball thing.
Yeah.
So I suppose we're technically calling that a gadget, aren't we? A fairly gadget-heavy movie, I think. Although not... they're kind of what I think of as fairly obvious gadgets.
Yeah.
Like the finger trap thing, you keep it in your pocket, someone puts a hand in, snap.
Yeah.
It's kind of a simple idea, you know.
Just remember where you put your wallet.
I was going to say, that would not be the best idea.
I'll get these. Not again.
Although I do like the little ring thing on the finger to cheat at the slots.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's
idea.
good.
Rinse a load of billionaires who thoroughly deserve it. So I have said 6 for gadgets.
There's a deleted scene where Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci go at the queue and they go, "We've been looking at your behaviour. We want to have a word with you out back." Yeah, no, of course not. So what did you say?
I've gone 6 for gadgets.
6. I got 7.
6 for gadgets. This is one you've scored higher than
A little
me.
higher
then.
than that. Is that the first time tonight?
No, second time, but it hasn't happened much.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
I've got lots of gags.
Gags. We've got. This is even. I think this is the most gag-heavy movie so far. Even more so than Thunderball was.
Yeah.
Very.
Whether
gag-heavy
any
movie.
of them were that good. Let's see.
Well,
soon.
Connery spoke really highly of this script. He loved it, and he loved the humour in it. I mean, I think it's...
Well, tell that to his face, because Jesus, he looks a
bit miserable at times. I mean, it's even more gag-heavy than Thunderball. And go on, I've got a few here. So I think this is one of the reasons I liked it so much as a kid. There's so many bad gags in it. So go on, what have you got?
I've probably only written down a few of the Winton Kids ones. So they just say things like, after blowing up a helicopter... If God had wanted man to fly, he would have given him wings. And they're like,
I mean, pretty much everything Winton Kids say.
Everything they say. Mrs. Whistler did want some pictures of the canal for their children. And, very moving, heartwarming, glowing tribute.
Yeah, very good, a glowing tribute, Mr. Kid. Yeah, that's very good. So pretty much everything Winton Kids say is a pun. But... Bond has a lot of puns in this as well.
He does.
And Connery actually has some entire scenes, really, which are all comedic. So here's some of Bond's puns. I've got... He's certainly left with his tail between his legs.
Yeah.
I do like the Who Is Your Floor?
Who is your floor?
I do think that's very good. Alimentary Dr. Leiter.
Yeah.
I love when Tiffany's says, I'll continue getting dressed. And he says, please don't, not on my account, which I think is very good. But there are... entire scenes really that Connery is showing his comedy chops, So we've got excellent byplay once again between Bond and M over the sherry. There is no year for sherry and all that kind of stuff. There are some in-jokes too. We do function in your absence, 007 is clearly an in-joke and that kind of thing.
Eye roll.
And there is whole scenes, as I say, when Connery's playing it for laughs. So when he's supposedly mourning his brother and he's laying it on really thick with the guy outside the plane, we were inseparable and all that kind of stuff. And also when he's pretending to be Klaus Hergesheimer, that whole scene really is... He's quite deadpan, he's quite funny, he's quite droll. He's sort of setting himself up, really. Yeah. So I think he does an awful lot of comedic acting in this movie.
Yeah.
Have I missed any gags?
Yeah, let's see. Well, there was a couple of Peter, I'm impressed. There's a lot more to you than I expected. She means his cock. And you've caught me with more than my hands up. Yeah. He means his cock. There's two of them. Michael! I did like him down in the hole with the rat. One of us smells like an old tart's handkerchief. Oh, I'm afraid it's me. Sorry about that, old boy.
Sorry about that.
And then, as we should have in the start of the programme, I was just out walking my rat and I seem to have lost my way. Yeah. So, Miss Case was showing a little more cheek than usual because she's got tape in her bum.
And Charles Gray says, such nice cheeks.
Such nice cheeks too. If only there were brains. What if she had brains in her bum?
Yeah, brains aren't supposed to be there. Yeah. Blofelds. No.
Yeah, that's the one I got as well.
He did say science wasn't his strong suit, so that must extend to biology as well. Yeah. I have gone 7 for gags.
Same here. Yeah.
Same here.
Same here, mate.
Same here, mate. Gags. Right. Which only leaves one category, and that is girls. Not that we are ranking girls according to their physical appearance, because we're new age men and we don't do that kind of thing. No. This is character development. How good are the actresses and all that kind of stuff.
This time round, pretty goddamn thin. Rubbish.
Yeah. Poor. I mean, Tiffany Case starts as a sort of wisecracking match for Bond.
Yeah.
And then almost immediately she becomes a useless sidekick. Yeah. Because, at the end, when they're on the boat and Winter Kid are trying to kill them, and she goes, "Ee." Yeah. Well, I mean, that might be the worst thing I've ever seen a Bond girl do. It's rubbish. Yeah. But actually, she starts much earlier than that, because even when Bond and Franks are fighting in the elevator in Amsterdam, just after her and Bond have met, she's pretty hopeless. Yeah. She just sort of stands there going, yes. So, I don't make her one or the other. She's sort of both, and I don't like the fact that she's both. Yeah, she's either a wisecracking match for Bond or she's useless. Yeah. But I don't think it works that she's both.
I think they kind of made, there's a thing really early on when she keeps changing her wig. I forgot. But that's sort of in the first bit, and then I don't. Does she keep changing her appearance, and I just didn't notice? Or
No, I think she stays a redhead most of the rest of the movie. Because she says, "What the hell is my black wig doing?" In
that's right. Yeah.
So I don't quite know. Other than a bit
she
of comedy.
changes her wig a lot. There's not much to her personality.
I suppose it was a chance to give Connery a chance to say some lines. Or that kind of thing. But,
Plenty O'Toole. I think I summed her up. He meets a woman who gets thrown out of a window. She makes some dumb comments in the casino.
Brilliant lines from Connery when he says, "But of course you are." Which, by the way, he says exactly that same line 25 years later in The Rock, when Nicolas Cage introduces himself very strangely, and he says, "But of course you are." So anyway, look out for that. But yeah, I think the named after your father perhaps and all that, good lines and all that kind of thing. But Plenty as a character, there was a scene they cut where Bond and Plenty are having dinner together. And they cut it for reasons of pacing and timing and that kind of thing. And that may have given us a chance to find out a bit more about Plenty, but she's pretty underdeveloped at the moment. The other thing they cut, it's not clear why Plenty is killed. Or sorry, it's clear why she's killed because obviously they think she's Tiffany Case in the but how does she know where Tiffany lives? Because that happens at Tiffany's house. And the answer is there was a scene they cut when Bond and Tiffany are in bed and Plenty, soaking wet after a swim, comes back in and finds Tiffany's address in her purse. So therefore she goes to Tiffany's house to settle a score with Tiffany. Unfortunately, Winston killed her there and bump her off.
I forgot.
And you do think, well, how does she know where she lives? Why is she there? It doesn't really work. So, and that's because so much of her stuff is cut. It's not
she didn't
doesn't
movie
work.
a lot. And I did think that like she's got thrown out the window. He's like, she's all right. She's in a swimming pool. I'll just get into bed with this other woman now. So what's she gonna do?
She's only fallen 12 stories into this swimming pool. She'll be fine.
Leave it to
do
her.
it all the time. Plenty apparently. Lana Wood apparently based Plenty O'Toole on, amongst other people, Minnie Mouse with the deliberately high voice and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's all a bit. I don't know. I don't think she quite works. And we've already talked about Bambi and Thumper. I don't know what all that is about. I don't know what, why, how.
I can't deliver any other thoughtful insight. They were just a bit of shit.
I don't get it. I don't anyway, so I'm afraid it's not going to be a great score for the girls this time because they aren't. When you think how brilliantly Diana Rigg's character was developed and portrayed in the last movie and written and performed, I'm afraid this is a bit
do this
slim pickings by
which
comparison.
you're saying
Is 5 a bit harsh?
I've gone 3. So
3? Oh my god! You're a brutal man. I
didn't like him at all.
Didn't like him at all. Well,
and I don't mean the actresses. I mean the characters. And like I wasn't blown away by Jill St. Scott.
St. John.
St. John.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate her as a performance. It was just like God, they've given her some weak stuff.
Some really weak stuff to do.
Yeah.
No, I agree. So that's it. Is the bomb board complete? We're going to take a little break while I do some maths, kids. Welcome back. We have the scores on the doors for the Bond board. I should have written lyrics, easy. Right, let's have a quick recap on the scores of the movie we've looked at so far. Right. Mr. Tom Scriven, take it away.
So, so far, last place with 143 is Dr. No. In 5th place is You Only Live Twice with 165.
I went too early.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service is in 4th place with 170.
No one wants a premature douche, do they? Douche.
And so that means in 3rd place is From Russia with Love with 184. Douche. And Thunderballs in 2nd with 186. Douche. And our top scorer at the moment is Goldfinger with 191. Douche. Well done.
Right. That's the top. That's the 6. That's the 6 we've looked at so far. So this is the 7th film we've looked at. Where will it come? Well, I've inputted your data. Ooh. And Tom has scored. You've got our individual scores.
Oh, sorry.
So Tom has scored 74. I scored 83, which means Diamonds Are Forever scores 1 57 out of a possible 240, and it goes 6th out of 7.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed with that, but I'm not surprised because I didn't think it would be your cup of tea. Now, had it been Flash Gordon, so yeah, it's ahead of Dr. No, but it's behind.
Yeah.
Everything else.
I mean, Dr. No, I enjoyed, so
Yeah.
I'm not like.
It was more a format thing that let Dr. No down, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because the format hadn't been established.
Exactly, yeah. And I think, they're not that far apart, of course. No. But yeah, I definitely did find myself going, I can kind of see Connery's had enough of this,
He's back for the money.
Yeah.
Do you think he was phoning it in then?
A little, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like after you mentioned that in the the little Nelly scenes, maybe I was more aware or more looking out for it. But he just, like I said, he looks a bit old and knackered.
He's
and
definitely getting a little round the middle, hasn't he? But
then
we all comes to all of us.
Exactly, yes.
Middle-aged spread and all that.
It was still a whole lot of fun.
It was a whole lot of fun.
But I'm looking forward now to
the next one, which is
Live and Let Die.
On the wall behind you. We'll have to do some redecoration next time to move the Live and Let Die.
Get our poster back out.
Picture in here. I'm just rearranging your flat. You don't mind, do you? That's totally fine, isn't it? So yes, next episode we will look at Live and Let Die. Roger Moore's first appearance, the first of 7 consecutive appearances.
Into the age of Moore.
Into the age of Roger Moore. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget, follow us on Twitter, X thing, at Review Kill Show.
Yeah.
You can also message us there as well, and I will see it. Or you can leave a little message, a little comment
down there
under this little video, which my friend and colleague, Mr. Tom Scriven, will see and will administer appropriately. And who knows, you might get a shout out on the next episode.
Yeah.
Now there's an incentive to contact us.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time for the next podcast YouTube show
program.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time for Live and Let Die.
I'm going to say the names Rio. Cheerio.
Yeah. Bye.